Hi there, and welcome to Jewish Conservatives on Locals.com with me, Jake Donnelly. Now, after spending all of yesterday's spiel talking about sports, today we're going to get back into the Jewish side of things. And it's actually an unfortunate reason. That's because right now, anti-Semitism is in the news thanks to Frontier Airlines. Frontier Airlines decided to cancel an entire flight after initially deciding to simply kick off, an entire group of Hasidic Jews. They did so because an 18-month-old or 15-month-old, depending on the source that you read this story from, but a child under 2 years of age refused to wear a face mask after eating. Now, Frontier Airlines, their guidelines do not say that anybody under 2 years of age has to wear a mask. So, Frontier Airlines, while grouping an entire cadre of Hasidim together, decided, you know what? They're all together. All those Jews are the same. Let's kick them all off the plane. So initially, they kicked off a group of 22 Jews from their flight. They did so because of masks, at least according to them. Now, one guy on the entire plane stood up and said that this is an anti-Semitic moment, that you guys are not acting properly, and that you're going to be in the news because you're being anti-Semites. There were reports that the crew were high-fiving and cheering as they were kicking off the Jews. Again, the only reason, according to all of the eyewitnesses and everybody on the flight that is not connected to Frontier Airlines, the only reason that they were kicked off was because of this infant that refused to put on a mask after eating. Now, according to Frontier Airlines, they were saying how the entire group of people were not compliant. The only problem is nobody and nothing substantiates the claims of Frontier Airlines. So it looks like it's a story of the bad corporation, Frontier Airlines, who is scapegoating Jews against everybody else on the flight. But the problem is, if you support Jews and you are faced with this situation, what are you going to do? We've heard throughout all of 2020 how you don't have to be black in order to support blacks. That, by the way, is one of the fairest statements ever. In fact, you do not have to be any particular race or a part of any particular creed in order to support a particular race or a particular creed. It doesn't work like that. If somebody is deserving of support, if somebody is deserving of help, they deserve it, and you should give it to them. However, if a group isn't, then they don't. But if there is a group that is being maligned and unfairly treated, let's say on an airplane, and you know that they're being treated unfairly, will you do anything about it? If it's a group of Jews on an airplane that's getting kicked off for being Jews, will you do anything about it? That's the question that all Jews and non-Jews alike have to ask themselves. Do you support Jews? That doesn't mean, do you support Jews when things are going well and it's easy? If you support somebody, that means you support them through the easy and good times as well as the hard and bad times. That's what support is. Support is not something that you do and you can just check it off quite easily. Support is difficult. If it wasn't, then it really wouldn't be support. You wouldn't be lifting anything up. It wouldn't be causing you any stress. And that's the thing that you really have to ask yourself if you think you support Jews. Will you support Jews in the tough times? Will you sacrifice some of your own comfort in order to support Jews? That was the question asked of a bunch of people in a situation that they did not put themselves in. For everybody else on that plane, they did not ask to be thrust into a situation like that. But welcome to life. Life is all about dealing with the unexpected. And that situation on the Frontier Airlines plane was completely and utterly unexpected. And yet, only one guy spoke up while on the plane. Now, ironically, the entire flight got canceled, probably because of that one guy and the fact they had to kick off 22 people. But in a situation like that, if you reverse the roles, let's say there were a group of 22 black people at the back of the plane, and there was an announcement that said the last two rows of the plane, they must deplane. Everybody in those two rows, those last two rows of the plane, has to get off of the plane right now. If 22 black people stood up, would you say something about it? Would you do something? Would you maybe even accost one of the flight attendants and say, why is that group of 22 black people getting kicked off of the plane while everybody else isn't? They claimed that it was because the adults in the group were not wearing face masks. That flies in the face of reality, at least according to every single eyewitness on that plane. And then everybody complained afterwards because what they were doing was not right. But you have to take action. In these situations, you cannot just sit back and complain and moan and do all of these things that don't really signify support. That's the issue. Complaining is not really supporting. You, like the civil rights leaders and people that were supporting, there's that word again, the civil rights movement of the 1960s, those people were willing to go to jail. We might be at that point soon because nobody in America supports Jews. For the black hat Jews, the Orthodox, the religious Jews, this must feel like they're back in the Pale of Settlement right now. Because it seems like every single place they go, Jews are getting scapegoated. The vast majority of American Jews live in New York. They live in New York City. In other words, they live under a corrupt governor who scapegoats them as much as possible. They live under the mayor of New York City who threatened to sic the New York Police Department on them like it's his own personal Gestapo. That is what American Jews are dealing with right now. Not most or all American Jews, but that's what Orthodox, visibly Jewish Jews are dealing with right now. Because when it comes to supporting Jews, people might say they do, but when it comes to action, people don't. And support is all about action. That's what we're seeing right now. We are seeing that when push comes to shove, the people that say they support Jews, they don't push back. It's hands behind their back and it's, oh, I'm so sorry to disturb you. But that's what we are right now. We are dangerously close in a day and age where Jews are 4 times more likely to be the victim of a hate crime than a black person. That is where we are right now. That is what Jews deal with, and visibly Jewish Jews. That is what we're talking about. So yes, support blacks, support Mexicans, Asians, gays, old people, support everybody that needs it. But you know who needs it the most right now? Jews. And you know who's not getting any support? Jews. Why? It's because we're Jewish. It's the same story in 2021 as it was in 2020, as it was in 2019, as 1940, as 1930, as 1880, as 1820, so on and so forth, ad infinitum, until the time that Moses smashed the tablets on Mount Sinai. Because do you support Jews? Ask yourself that question. And then ask yourself, do you really support Jews? Well, that does it for my spiel here today on Jewish Conservatives on locals.com. Please do whatever you can to support this page with money, words, deeds, thoughts, actions. I don't care whether you like this page, whether you don't, just support it so we can keep this thing going and grow this wonderful community. For now, though, this is Jake Donnelly with Jewish Conservatives saying, until next time, folks, see ya.